Max.
A tool for total surveillance of Russian citizens.
They are all transparent to the security services.
The Max Messenger app, a spyware program that everyone is being forced to install.
Max, a messenger for millions of people.
Telegram, WhatsApp, and other services are being blocked in Russia.
They need to be shut down.
How is the Kremlin trying to make Max the only platform for Russians? Can the security forces penetrate every phone to see everything through the camera and hear everything through the microphone? Will the intelligence services use artificial intelligence to simultaneously analyze the correspondence of millions of users? Watch in the special report, FSB, in your phone. How the Max Messenger spies on Russians. They know their messages can be read by Russian security forces. They have heard from many sources that installing Max is dangerous. And yet, they have decided to do it anyway. These people reassure themselves with the words, "Who'd want to spy on me? I'm nobody special." They hope that the powers that be will have bigger things to worry about than them and their phone.
I have nothing to hide. Nothing to fear if someone finds out something.
Ordinary people like us have nothing we'd be afraid to post.
That attitude is, in reality, extremely dangerous. Installing the Max app on your phone can spell enormous trouble for any Russian citizen. Everything a person writes, reads, watches, or listens to through this messenger will be stored on servers for years. Max belongs to the VK holding company, notorious for its cooperation with Russian security services. 95% of criminal cases opened in Russia over online speech are linked specifically to the VK platform. In essence, VK is the technical department of the Federal Security Service, and Max is a messenger that was built on direct orders from the FSB. The app's privacy policy states explicitly that all user data will be handed over to law enforcement and security services. Russian authorities are not even hiding it. Max will be used to surveil Russian citizens.
It is a completely transparent system, and the people who use it should understand that they are completely transparent.
To the state? To the security services?
To the security services.
Even Russians loyal to the government will not be able to feel safe, because the security services are handed quotas from above, targets for how many people they must detain for extremism. And those quotas keep growing. More and more people need to be detained. A like under someone's post can be deemed an act of extremism. Any other activity, including inside the Max Messenger, can be treated the same way.
Even if you are communicating with someone you don't know, say a spammer sends you a message offering to join the Russian Volunteer Corps, that alone can be enough to land you a lengthy prison sentence. You are not guilty, a spammer wrote to you, but try proving that to a cop. He sees RVC in your messages, he sees your name, and that's it. A criminal case gets fabricated just like that. And a case like that can be built against absolutely anyone.
Those who think their messages simply won't be reached, that Russia has tens of millions of active users, and no one can read all those messages, are also mistaken. Security forces will be able to monitor all texts and likes. They will be analyzed by artificial intelligence, which is already built into the Max Messenger. At its core, Max is spyware that a person installs on their own phone. Once installed, the app can independently add other auxiliary programs to the device.
Apple Store,
Bypassing the App Store,
Play,
bypassing Google Play,
более.
to install deeper spyware that will carry out all the necessary functions,
Выполнить все необходимые действия.
basic monitoring of where you are at any given moment, what you are doing, which apps you are using, and how long you spend in each one.
Приложение вы используете.
Through the Max Messenger, the FSB and the Interior Ministry will be able to see exactly what a person reads and writes in other apps. If needed, they can even access text that a user typed but never sent.
Контроль.
Surveillance will be fairly broad-based, but if someone draws attention for any reason, the focus shifts, digging deeper, more targeted, more closely,
более пристально.
Security forces will be able to intercept passwords entered in apps or on websites, see all of a user's contacts, and gain access to photos and video files stored on the device, even the microphone and camera.
Если телефон
If the phone is near a person, the microphone can absolutely be switched on.
можно снять.
Audio can be captured. You can find out what is happening, what the person is saying, or what the people around them are saying.
Соответственно,
The camera can be activated without any indication. You can see exactly what your camera is looking at any given moment.
в какой-то конкретный момент
Russians have already given the messenger a nickname, the cop in your pocket, for the constant, round-the-clock surveillance of everyone.
This app will report your exact location to the police every single minute of every day, around the clock. There is no method to conceal it, no configuration that makes it safe, no workaround that actually works. And anyone who tells you there's a safe way to install Max is, to put it mildly, lying straight to your face.
Even simply having the app on your phone poses a serious threat, and not only from the security services. In Russia, every database that ends up in the hands of the state sooner or later finds its way onto the black market, available to anyone willing to pay. It happened with passport data, addresses, phone numbers. Officials profit from all of it. Information is bought and sold through various forums. The personal data collected by the Max Messenger will be no different. Anyone who wants it will be able to buy it. Messages, contacts, and much more. Right down to banking details. All of it can be exploited by personal enemies and fraudsters alike.
They can take out loans in your name. The full spectrum of fraud that exists in Russia right now, I don't think there's anything like it anywhere else in the world. And it operates at the encouragement of the police, who could have stopped it long ago but are part of it themselves.
Millions of Russians understand these risks perfectly well, and they do not want to install Max.
I don't want to download the Max Messenger.
What's wrong with it?
They spy on users. I just don't want to. It doesn't feel right. Telegram feels safer.
It's just tracking people. Where you went, where you're going. What's the point of it all? There should be some freedom.
So what would it take for you to install Max?
Max? I don't know.
Nothing for me. I'd rather dig out an old brick phone and use that.
A friend has Kaspersky antivirus installed and it keeps sending him notifications that the Max app attempted to take a photo or record something. That's a violation of privacy.
Russian authorities claim that 85 million people have already installed Max, and that is very likely a lie. The figure is almost certainly heavily inflated. On the streets of Moscow, for example, it is hard to find anyone who has this messenger on their phone.
Have you installed Max?
No.
Will you?
No.
Why not?
What for?
I'm definitely not switching to Max.
Are you on Max?
No.
I haven't used it, but I've heard a lot of bad things.
I haven't installed it.
But the authorities are trying to force Russians to download Max. Public sector workers across the country are being threatened. Install the app or lose your bonus or your job. Housing management company employees face fines if they fail to migrate all building group chats to Max. This aggressive coercion is only driving further resistance.
I don't trust Max. I don't want it. Why should anyone force me to install something? And when something is being pushed on you this hard, the negativity just grows immediately.
In local and state government offices, in schools, in hospitals, there are conflicts between management and staff everywhere.
So my boss Victor calls me at work and asks, "Georgie, are you reading our chats?" I say, "Yes, I'm reading them. I follow all the instructions. I just replied to you." And he says, "Fine, but have you installed Max like I asked?" I say, "No, actually, I wanted to discuss that with you. I'll take a clean phone, put a SIM card in it, install the app, and we can call each other through it, no problem. I'm just not installing it on my personal phone." And then he just exploded, called me a liberal scum, said I look at the world through childish blinkered eyes, that I don't understand a thing about real life. That's it, pack your stuff and get out.
Management issued a direct order to install Max. I said, "Here's my work computer, install it there." The response, "No, we need you to put it on your personal phone." I said, "Give me a work phone with Max on it." We had a row. What am I, a slave? Their serf?
University students are being spoken to like serfs as well. This is a recording made secretly at one of Moscow's universities.
I am the head of a department speaking to you in the capacity of deputy rector. Are we clear? Yesterday you received an instruction. We are joining the new platform Max. Did you or did you not receive it? Whether you like it or not is of absolutely no interest to anyone. No one cares. You do what your supervisor tells you to do.
And so it goes in universities and colleges across the country. Students who refuse to install Macs are being threatened with expulsion. In Yekaterinburg, for example, the administration of the Polzunov College gathered students who had not registered on the platform and made them copy out a statement from the board by hand. I request to be expelled of my own free will. I categorically refuse to install the Macs Messenger. And this applied even to top students.
We are aware of several cases in which students were expelled from universities for refusing to install the Macs Messenger. It is clear that all of these expulsions are unlawful.
Students at the Omsk College of Professional Technologies, for example, are being threatened with mass expulsion. The message: if we have to expel half the student body, we'll do it without batting an eye.
I am passing on information regarding registration in Macs. I will not be taking any objections. We are required to comply with the demands of our state. Anyone who has not registered by the end of the day, I ask you to understand me. As they say, pack your bags and don't let the door hit you on the way out. They're drilling into my head just the same, demanding 100% registration in Macs. Fine. If I end up with 15 people left in my group, so be it. I'll graduate 15 crane operators.
In Novorossiysk, students at the Ushakov State Maritime University have been told outright, those who do not install Macs will not be admitted to their examination session. And at the Chemistry Institute of Kazan Federal University, they are planning to introduce Macs-based entry access to the building. School children are also being pressured to install the Messenger, along with their parents. Orders are being issued across Russia requiring schools to migrate to Macs, including all class and parent group chats. Homework assignments can only be accessed through the platform. And residents of remote villages in Tatarstan are complaining that information about school bus arrivals and cancellations can now only be found in the Macs Messenger. It has reached the point of absurdity. According to Penza Media, students at a local gymnasium who refused to install Macs were barred from the school's New Year's party. Every other student was turned away at the door. And those who did install the Messenger are now complaining. Macs is clunky, sluggish, stiff.
It's inconvenient. The connection is terrible. Text messages and notifications don't come through right away.
Macs lags and it's less convenient.
I'd sooner communicate by carrier pigeon.
Macs glitches constantly. My phone slows to a crawl. Everything takes an hour to load. I can't even open a single game.
Because of Macs, my phone heats up really fast.
And voice messages in Macs seem to lag really badly too.
But the main reason Russians do not want to install Macs is the fear of falling under total surveillance by the security services. People are afraid their data will be sold on the black market, and that whatever scraps of freedom and privacy they have left will be gone for good. Those who have been forced to put the Messenger on their phone are finding workarounds however they can. They buy a second phone specifically for Macs, the cheapest, most battered second-hand device they can find.
The phone was reset to factory setting. There is nothing on it. That is exactly why I'm installing the Macs Messenger on it now, and then putting it in the drawer and forgetting about it.
Mobile phone shops are running special deals on cheap phones bundled with Macs installation. I know many people among my acquaintances who did exactly the same thing, because at work, at university, at school, they are required to have Macs installed.
But many organizations, universities, and schools are also requiring people to bring their Macs phone with them in person to show it. One young Russian decided to go to rather creative lengths because of this.
This is my phone for the Macs Messenger. I broke the microphone here and just in case, removed the speaker too. Broke this microphone as well. Really put the poor thing through its paces. And I took the cameras off. Here they are.
The vast majority of Russians who have been forced to install Macs barely use it. They write nothing there. And that is the wise choice.
Do not communicate with anyone there. Do not discuss any political topics whatsoever. Do not publish anything of a political nature, because it is perfectly obvious that for the Russian security services, finding such posts and proving who wrote them will require absolutely no effort at all.
The plans to impose the messenger on Russians have quietly fallen apart. Here is what Kremlin sources told the outlet Verska.
In practice, making the app the primary communication tool, even among civil servants and public sector workers, has not worked out. User registrations are growing, but there are still not enough active chats where people actually talk. Max is perceived as a fairly formal institutional tool, not a messenger for everyday communication and leisure.
The authorities are doing everything possible to get the overwhelming majority of the population using Max. In Russia, installation of the app has been made mandatory on all new phones sold in stores. It has been granted official state status. Putin signed a dedicated law for this purpose. The Kremlin is making life as difficult as possible for Russians who refuse to install Max. Electronic requests to utility services can now only be submitted through it. Access to the mobile version of the State Services portal has been made exclusively available through this messenger. And confirming your age to buy alcohol or cigarettes at a supermarket now also requires Max.
So here's the situation. They wouldn't take my passport details through State Services, but they were ready to take them through the Max app. What the hell is this? It's literally everywhere now. We now have State Services being less relevant than this garbage.
Max really is everywhere. Its advertising is all over Russia. And, as in the darkest films about totalitarianism, the promotion blares from loudspeakers.
Max, a messenger for millions of people.
They can't figure out how to cram this messenger down people's throats. The advertising is literally everywhere. People don't want to install it, but public sector workers are already being forced to do so en masse, even though it's illegal.
Max, the Russian messenger.
Russians are already making videos about where all of this could lead if it continues.
Attention, leaving your home is only permitted with a QR code from the Max app. All citizens prepare your devices for inspection, verifying Max app installation. Anyone found without it will be detained for discrediting the state. Max is order, Max is security.
Max is being advertised on television and across social media.
Hey everyone, I recently downloaded the Max app. And you know what? I was blown away. This app has signal even in a parking garage.
But all of it only generates an endless stream of memes.
Messenger Max works even in a bunker.
I don't even know what it looks like, but the memes about it are already everywhere.
Russians are dubbing over Max advertisements to make them a little more accurate.
Hey, I'm a little chatbot. Don't know how to delete the Max app? Well, you can't. It's forever now. You are a slave to the system. In Max, your personal data flows to the Russian government at maximum speed. Want to call your parents? Max has no signal.
Cutting-edge technology in the new state messenger. When you send a message, your potential prison sentence will be displayed immediately.
Advertising and promotion are not working for Max, and so Russian authorities have decided to take more radical measures, gradually eliminating the competition. Blocking Telegram, WhatsApp, Viber. People are outraged. Some have taken to the streets.
I haven't been able to call my mother in Belarus for a week now because of the blocking of all calls.
Why can't I call my friends or relatives who live far away?
The war on WhatsApp and Telegram, along with other segments of the internet that fall outside censorship's reach, is being waged on Putin's personal orders.
They need to be shut down, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
Russian users, the so-called B2C segment, they have established habits.
Yeah. Let's address everyone who hasn't yet managed to break these bad habits. I'm not joking. I mean it.
Understood. We'll get to work.
Shutting down rival messengers is critically important to Putin because they host countless channels outside the Kremlin's control, through which Russians can learn the truth about the war and the crimes of Putin's regime. That is why the dictator needs Max so badly. Every channel there will be in the spirit of Solovyov or Skabeyeva's propaganda, or Mizulina's lectures on the correct internet.
I've already set up a channel on Max.
And no one with even the slightest critical attitude toward the authorities will be able to open a channel at all.
A person cannot create a channel in the Max Messenger if they are not registered in Roskomnadzor's blogger registry. To register, you must provide your passport details to the authorities, and only then are you permitted to run a blog. So naturally, what you will find there is Solovyov and a handful of second and third tier propagandists.
Russians barely use Max to communicate with friends or family, or to read the news. They turn to Telegram and WhatsApp. They bypass the blocks using VPNs, which are now used by roughly a third of Russia's population.
I use a paid VPN. Works perfectly.
We grew up in the era of the free internet. They are not going to take it away from us.
The authorities are systematically blocking VPNs.
The Russian state is hunting these services down, identifying new addresses.
VPN developers keep circumventing the blocks.
VPN services keep rotating their address pools. It's a cat and mouse game.
Telegram in Russia can still be accessed without a VPN for now. Roskomnadzor has not yet fully restricted access to its channels. It has slowed or made voice calls, video calls, and messaging practically impossible. But the order to block it entirely has not yet come from above. The Kremlin is hesitating because it has itself invested heavily in propaganda resources on Telegram.
The Simonyans, the Solovyovs, and all the rest of the propagandist rabble, they actively use Telegram for their dirty work. They have built up countless propaganda channels there, leak outlets, semi-propaganda operations, deception channels. They don't want to leave. But the security services still don't trust Telegram. I think the pressure on Telegram will increase gradually.
Which is why nearly every propagandist post on Telegram now comes with a call to follow their channel on Max. And here everything depends on ordinary Russians. As long as most people continue to ignore the state messenger, the Kremlin will not move to fully block Telegram. And conversely, the authorities will feel emboldened to block Telegram faster if a critical mass of Russians is already on Max. The regime is waiting until the numbers are where it needs them to be.
The moment you install Max, that number goes up on their tally, and the next phase will be the blocking of Telegram. To delay the blocking of Telegram, the simplest thing to do is not install Max.
If Putin succeeds, and Max becomes the dominant messenger in Russia, it will mark the next enormous step toward a sealed-off internet, cut off from the rest of the world. Much like what exists in China, Iran, and North Korea.
The North Korean model is already not that far from what we are seeing in Russia. Surveillance there runs very deep, at the level of both apps and the operating system.
Building a closed internet in Russia serves Putin's need to take one more step, from authoritarian rule toward the fully totalitarian, where the state intrudes into every person's private life and demands absolute submission, where even a carelessly spoken word is punished. And Max will be the instrument of that punitive machine.
Picking people off for a thought, making sure everyone understands they are under control, so that no one says anything.
Just like in Orwell's novel, Big Brother is watching you. Videos like this are appearing online about what the future holds for Russians.
Набрали воздуха по моей команде на счет 3. Раз, два.
Whether that future awaits Russians depends on whether they continue to comply with the regime and follow its every demand, whether they install Max en masse, whether they allow fear to go on conditioning them into servile obedience.
Max is also being used to intimidate the population. It is an electronic bracelet, or more accurately, a collar, that the authorities are fastening around Russians to control them. With this electronic collar, they will keep society under their thumb and keep specific individuals under surveillance.
The Kremlin needs to create the feeling that the security services are watching everyone, to use that as psychological pressure on Russians, to shape their thinking, to force them to surrender any right to privacy or independent thought. The Kremlin's goal is to ensure that within 5 to 10 years, an entire new generation will know of no other way to communicate than the fully state-controlled Max messenger, to make every Russian fully visible to the FSB right now. To build something like a panopticon prison, where every inmate is in plain sight of the guards at all times and never knows whether they are being watched at any given moment, which means they assume they are always being watched. To build a country ruled by fear and the desire not to stand out, where people are content to be cogs in a totalitarian machine and to carry an instrument of control in their pocket, like a collar. Even the logo resembles one, and the leash grows shorter by the day. Maxim Urlapov, Special Report.